again. And instead of hitting against the wall, we empower in such a way that when the person is ready, they will open the gate so that they can leave the castle, convince the knight that the knight is not necessary anymore, and continue with their life in a different way. The exhaustion to keep this castle intact costs a lot of energy. Protecting systems for things that for which we weren't able to deal with as an emotion costs a lot of energy. Now, let me take you into my presentation. I'm going to share my screen with you. So as I said, we talk about stress and trauma sensitive reflexology, and it has many dimensions, as I learned throughout time. And to truly understand it, I would like to use this image. As long as we keep thinking in terms as anatomy, physiology, pathology, we will not be able to use other means which are as powerful to make combinations of them, so that the imprints in our autonomic nervous system can be rewritten or released. Yeah? And to say this with the words of Nikola Tesla, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. By which I mean, every emotion has a vibration, because emotion means energy in motion. You can sense it. When you enter a room where people had an argue, you sense it. When you enter a temple or a church, a place of devotion, you can sense it. When you walk in a very busy city and afterwards you walk into the woods, it's a different kind of energy, it's a different kind of vibration, and it has a different kind of effect on all of us. Now, why is this so important? From the moment that you do not have this alignment anymore between your energy, frequency, and vibration, it looks like this. Here you see a person that has experienced several things in life, and it's like different parts of them. You know, in psychology, they call it also the inner family. There are parts of you that play different roles, and they don't work together as a unity anymore. If you bring this to neuroscience, then there are certain parts in your brain, there are certain memories that are activated each time over and over again. Memories linked to the past, but they are touched by or triggered in the present, and you react to something of the past that in the present isn't there anymore. Or if you look at it from a point of meridian systems or chakra systems, then you really can sense that certain meridians are not in a flow. There is something that's limiting the flow. They're not in their full potential. The same goes for chakras. If you do not have this inner safety in you, the basic chakra, Muladhara, will not be in its full power. Now, the work within Seraphim is all about the first letter. It's the S, and the S stands for safety. When you feel safe inside, you are able to raise your awareness. And although my heart aches telling this, reports have shown here in Belgium that due to the COVID crisis that there was, 1 out of 4 young people up to the age of 24 have been thinking for the past 12 months to kill themselves. And why? They couldn't get in contact anymore with their social life, with their friends, with whom they can sense a certain safety. Society has not been in safety. Families haven't felt safe. If parents don't feel, and children with whom the prefrontal cortex that gives them the ability to rationalize about things, as long as this is not fully developed, which only happens between 23 and 25 years, they need an environment that learns them how to deal with safety. So that are very disturbing figures. So this work is very important to spread in the world, and reflexology in general too. We need touch. We need to still down the skin hunger that there is in the world, because it gives a kind of safe feeling. When you feel safe, and I want to add something to that, people who got abused, most of the time it's not by touch. Touch can be for them very unsafe. So safety here is really on building inner safety by means of the technique, the basic technique, or using other techniques like breathing techniques, like meditation, like doing specific kinds of body awareness techniques. So when you feel safe, there is this ability to grow more awareness, like body awareness. How is my body reacting? And is it really reacting to what is happening to me now, or is it a reaction to something in the past? But also awareness that you do have the ability inside yourself to reframe things, to release emotions, and to rebuild things. The R stands for resilience, specifically emotional resilience, because emotion is energy in motion, and this energy can get a new focus. When you are stuck in anger and you create the ability, the resilience, to become aware that you're angry, feeling safe inside, and redirecting your anger to, for instance, compassion, or for instance, love, then you build resilience and you build the ability for changing really deep felt emotions into something else. But it is a training. It's not something, check, it's there. It needs steps to get there. The A stands for agility, mental agility, meaning that you can create a new framing of thinking, seeing things different. And you do this by using your focus, the things that you look at, becoming aware with which glasses you're looking, with what mindset you're looking, which feeling it gives you. And is it really that feeling, or is it something else? Making connection to your inner state. This is again the feelings that I talk about. The J stands for joy. Connecting to joy means that you're able to let go of fear, and that again is a training. And then the N stands for never ending, because it repeats itself over and over and over again. Now, Before I activate this video or start the video, I want to invite you to do with me an exercise. I have been talking to you about the castle, and most of us in reflexology are trained to use a lot of pressure. In this case, like I said, in stress and trauma sensitive reflexology, that's not the way we work. If you use pressure, if you feel something, you go in, it's quite invasive and it can create unsafety. So we work in a reversed way, whereas action is connected to the sympathetic part of the autonomic nervous system. We are going to work with techniques to activate as powerful as possible the parasympathetic system, but in such a way that it is balancing, so that there is going to be a coherence, a balance within the autonomic nervous system. So let's try something together before I dive into this, so that I can explain it. Okay. Look for a point on your hand where you feel that there is tension. Yeah? So I have a spot here. So if you feel that spot, put your thumb on that spot and put your middle finger somewhere on the back side of your hand. Okay. Now, we don't use pressure. You're not going to use pressure. And you can check, because your nail should not turn white. If it's white, it means that you're pushing. So what you do is simply contact. And now you're bringing your awareness to your thumb. You're going to sense what is happening in the contact from your thumb with your hand. And as you go deeper and deeper in this part of awareness, maybe you can feel like little ants walking. You can feel a kind of warmth. You can feel a vibration. You can feel the beating of your heart in your thumb. And from the moment you sense that, you bring your awareness to your middle finger and you do the same thing. So what are you sensing in the contact with the back of your hand? Do you also sense small ants walking? Is there a kind of heat? Is there a kind of beating? A kind of frequency? And when you sense that, you bring your awareness to both your thumb and your middle finger. And as you do so, you keep them where they are, again, without pressure, and you just let the energy flow through both of them. And you keep the hold so long until the intensity in both your thumb and your middle finger of what you are experiencing has the same rhythm and has the same power. Okay, and when you sense that, you go again into the spot with pressure and you sense if anything changed or not. Now, what you just performed on yourself was this. It's a mudra. It's the Shuni mudra. And it means that you work with two energy-giving fingers, which is the thumb and the middle finger. And by doing so, you bring a balance to the place where before there was tension. And this is crucial because this is a part of the training. Before you felt tension, and tension makes you aware of something that's there. When you perform the hold, when you do it more and more and more, you could feel that the entire system, your hand, that spot, is reacting to energy, to vibration, to certain frequency. And you could make a recheck by going into it and sensing the change that occurred. We don't do this we don't do this all the time. We do this to make people aware that it is effective, because a lot of people are framed, or they have a reference frame that says, if it doesn't hurt, it doesn't help. And that's not the case. It does work, but it works in a different way. And this way of working, instead of going into a system, inviting the system to come out, inviting to make that move themselves in a gentle way, that's key in the work that we do. Now, what you see here is the start of the Seraphim basic technique, or the Seraphim basic training. And you can see both of my hands supporting the heels of the person that's laying on the table. And you can see that my middle finger is on the inside of the heel and my thumb is on the outside. So the hold that we just did together, it's called the Trinity Hold, meaning that you have one system, the thumb, you have the middle finger, which is the other system, and the two together, that's a trinity. It's a wholeness. It's three parts. It's one, the other, and the balance between the two, the connection between the two, the flow between the two. Now, what you see here is me supporting these heels. So this is called a bimanual Trinity Hold. And I want to ask you to bring your awareness or your intention towards the foot that you see on the right side of the screen, so the foot in front. See what happens. Okay, so the video is running. Okay, so you already could see that it was shaking, and as I hold it here, I hold it until I can feel that it is balanced. Now I start working on the left foot of the person laying down. It's the right foot of the person laying down, but it's the left foot here. And keep watching, keep your eye on the foot on the right part of the screen. My hands are shaking because I'm staying in this vibration, which is connected to the electromagnetic fields of the earth. And I make small dynamic circles to invite on skin level the flow. Why do I do that? The skin is built out of the same germ layer as a nervous system. And now the camera is moving, but you're going to see it in just a minute. Okay, the camera is going to move a bit back, if I'm correct. Voila, now that's what you could see. You could see the toes move. I'm going to stop it for a moment. I'm just going back so that you can see it again. Okay. So, although I am working on the right foot of the person laying down, it's the left foot that's going to release the tension. Opa, there you could see it again. And that's how the technique works. It's gentle movements, only touch. It's not invasive. So every hold, every grip performed has to do with safety. It educates safety. And by sensing the safety, the person laying down is able to start opening up the castle or the fortress that I talked about before. So letting go step by step, the build-up tension to keep everything under control. And it's like baby steps. They release, they release, they release. And at a certain point when they are ready, because it's not The aim is, of course, that they are able to release, but it is not the aim for a session that we have. The aim is to build up this inner safety up to such a point that they are able to release the emotion that's still stuck in the system, so that they can continue with their lives in a far more thriving way than they did before. So in the basic technique, when we talk about Trinity, so it's not only the hold, but it are three parties or three things that are involved. First of all, the focus is on empowerment, on body awareness, health education, and on using techniques to make that even more powerful. The treatment is built in such a way that it offers safety. It gives holding space by the specific holds and techniques used. For the participant, it is a training in focus, in getting into this inner state from emotion, so the energy emotion, to far more sensing and dealing with sensing, training emotional resilience and mental agility. And a very important part is the facilitator. You could also say here reflexologist, but I call it facilitator because actually what you do, you facilitate the whole. You are so important. You are the one holding space. And holding space means that you are able to deal with what is coming. You are the one who is observing and responsible for the process that is happening. And here, like a resonant, you have the function of a lighthouse, meaning a lighthouse stands on the coastline. And it says, here is the coast, here is the coast. It gives a signal to the captain on the ship, but the captain on the ship stays always the captain on the ship. It's the captain's responsibility where it's going for. So, knowing that, it means that in the entire training you as the facilitator or training you as a reflexologist is key. Because if you are not able to let yourself cry, or to let yourself experience emotions, and I don't mean during the treatment, I mean in general, how can you give a security to a person that needs to cry and needs to release emotions? Okay, now what I discovered over time is that the more systems we can connect, the more powerful the whole becomes. So the fundamentals on which the basic techniques are built are indeed the chakra system. We work on the inside of the foot, and I will do it with my hand. We work on the inside of the foot, so the medial side, and we work on the spine reflex. But it's not the spine that we work with. We work on the level of the sushumna. So for me, working with this structure, with the chakra system, means that we make a connection between the ethereal world and the physical world by touch. And we work on a skin level where if we make small circular movements in a dynamic way, wherever there is resistance, there is an imprint for release. There is something that asks for a new balance. So we work on the Sushumna reflex on the feet as well as the chakras. I'm going to show you a part of the treatment like you saw before. Here you can see my hand shaking, And this is what we call the dynamic circling. So here starts what I call the cleaning or the sensing of the Sushumna reflex. So where there is tension, you hold and you connect again and you bring balance by the Trinity Hold. So here you go entirely down to the base chakra, which is at the far end. Just let us go one moment further. And you see the movement itself is coming from the basement, from the pelvis, meaning that actually what you're doing in the movement, you make a kind of cradling move. So when you hold a baby, you also make this gentle movement, because if you do this with the baby, it's not going to sleep. So the movement invites to go into an inner stillness, to connect to an inner awareness, to go into a meditative state in which other possibilities will occur. And here again you see the release of tension. This is sensitive work, and you can see here how touch releases tension within the person that's laying down. Now I'm nearly at the bottom. Let me see. Okay. I'm thinking because I know that I have a limited time, so I will proceed. The next part is about balancing the chakras. Okay, so that's the base chakra, Muladhara, and it is again a bimanual Trinity Hold to balance this. I will stop the video here, but I will show you where the different chakras are. So here you can see the support of the pelvis, supporting the Muladhara, supporting the person from the base up to empower them. Here you see chakra 1, so where my 2 fingertips are for my middle fingers, here on the edge of the calcaneum, that's where chakra 1 is. Here you see it again, so on the back side, against where the Achilles tendons is. The real chakra is here located on the bone, but we can't touch it, so we take it from that position. This is chakra 2 in the joint between the calcaneum and the talus. This is chakra 3 between metatarsal and cuneiform. Chakra 4, heart chakra, is just over the head, the caput of the metatarsal 1. Chakra 5 is just here over the base of the proximal phalange. Chakra 6 is over the edge here, the processes of the distal phalange, and the 7th chakra is on top. Now, if you deal with traumatized people, you have to go slow, whether you like it or not. Because in the slowing down, there is the window opening for building more safety, for building more awareness, for building the emotional resilience and the mental agility, so that they can release whatever is necessary to make the new step. Thank you very much for listening, and if there are any questions, please feel free to react.
Very excellent presentation in stress and trauma sensitive reflexology. Such a personality today in our first, the presence of such a personality today in our second international conference is a blessing. Please guide us Dr. Jyoti Kumbhar. She is the medical officer, National Institution of Pune Naturopathy.
Hello, good morning everyone. I am Dr. Jyoti Kumbhar. I am working as a medical officer in the National Institute of Naturopathy, Pune. Today I am here to discuss about the subject of acupressure. So with the acupressure, if you think about acupressure, for that sake acupuncture, reflexology, there are shiatsu, sujok, all of these alternative therapies are considered as Oriental medicine. It all comes under the Oriental medicine. In the sense, these are the therapies which are practiced mostly in the East Asian countries. And all of these therapies are based on the philosophy of energy. So what is this philosophy of energy is, all of these therapies are considered as energy medicine. In the sense, how these acupressure, acupuncture, reflexology, sujok and all of these therapies work. So they believe that we have an universal energy which is running in our body, which is circulating in every moment throughout our body. And then when we actually use these alternative therapies like in acupressure, we use some specific points to press manually with our thumb and fingers, and that is what we call as, that is how the acupressure is defined as a science, as a therapy. So what we do with this acupressure is to balancing the energy, or we can say the manipulating the energy to create some kind of a balance, we can say, within the body. So with the aim of achieving our health and also preventing the disease, and also to some extent to cure some of the diseases, or to help the patient to regain his or her health. So that is how acupressure is defined, and simply acu is actually means your thumb and finger, and the pressure is giving pressure on some specific point. So acupressure, if we think about the history of it, and nowadays it is globally known as the Chinese treatment of medicine. But then if we go and trace back a few thousand years, then we say that acupressure has the Indian origin, but then it was not really practiced as science. But then we had pressuring of some points, of some specific points in our culture. Even nowadays, till date, we have some on some specific points we do wear the jewelries like in the Indian traditional culture, where we use like bindi and the sticker that's in the center of the eyebrows, and which is considered as very important point in the therapy of acupressure. Then like the points which are around the wrist, there are some set of points which are around the ankles, where the ladies wear anklets, and there are points around the waist area where they used to wear some kind of a waist belt or some kind of a jewelry on the waist area. So this is how, or we can say the nose ring, where the nose ring is actually what, there is some particular specific acupressure point or acupuncture point. Then the earrings where we wear, so there are also important point where the ears are pierced for wearing the earring. So those are also important acupressure points. So this is how we had in our culture the origin of acupressure or the acupuncture, like pressuring or piercing some specific point with the aim of achieving, so to cure the disease or to prevent the disease or to also achieve the health and maintain the health. So that's what about the science of acupressure. And then when actually this science was taken by the Bodh bhikshus when it was in India some almost 6,000 years ago, and then they traveled to their respective countries like to the China, to the Japan, to the Korea, and then it was there that they developed this science of acupressure. Then it was named actually as given as the it was given as par with the medical system. Then it's given the standard. In many of the Western countries now the acupuncture is being practiced as a medical science. And now here in India people have started understanding about the acupressure and the acupuncture importance and its importance in maintaining the health and also leading a long and healthy life. So acupressure is based on the energy philosophy. We say that energy which is running throughout our body, okay, and the energy runs throughout our body in some kind of channels. It's typically called as meridians, energy runs into the meridians, and what we have the acupressure points are on these meridians, on these energy channels. So when we specifically press some of the points of acupuncture or acupressure on these channels, we do have the objective. What we want to achieve is for curing some disease or reducing some of the symptoms like pain or the swelling or the stiffness or the signs of inflammation, and then all of these symptoms can be actually resolved with the help of acupressure or acupuncture, where we pierce the needles on some specific points. So this is how we work for the energy balancing, for the energy maintenance within the body with the help of acupressure science. And if we think about the points, so there are almost thousands of points that we can actually learn from the acupressure and with acupuncture science. But then for the health maintenance and for dealing with the most common disorders, maybe some 25 and 30 points are absolutely needed, and which can be easily learned by anyone. You don't have to necessarily actually have any medical qualification to learn the acupressure especially. And acupuncture, of course, is practiced only by the qualified doctor, in which we pierce the needle on some specific points. So if we discuss more about the acupressure and the reflexology, we do want to understand the difference between the acupressure and the reflexology. So acupressure is giving pressure with your thumb and finger on some specific points, whereas reflexology is giving the pressure on some reflex areas. So reflexology, the pressure is given on the reflex areas. It's not exactly the point. And what is the importance of giving reflexology? Because our hands and feet, actually this is called as a hologram, on which the entire bodily organs are represented on our hands and feet. And when we give pressure on these reflex areas, the internal organs, the corresponding internal organs will be stimulated within our body, and then thereby correcting their irregularities, their inefficiency, and that is how we can cure the disease and also to prevent the disease, and also at the same time resolve the symptoms and regain the health. So that is how the acupressure or the reflexology also works. Reflexology doesn't have the points, but it has the reflex areas which are on soles and feet, as I said already, and the acupressure is actually has many points which are on the energy meridians, which are energy channels, and they are circulating throughout your body. The channels are all over your body, and every channel is actually related to one particular major organ. Now if we move further to understand what acupressure is and what is philosophy, how the treatment goes and all, so we need to first understand the major organs. In their subject, in the subject of acupressure, we have a theory called as a Zhang Fu Theory, or we say the couple organ theory, in which there are major organs which are coupled together, that we can say. In an example, if I want to say, it's like a lung and large intestine. So lung and large intestine, these are two major important organs within our body. So these two organs are coupled together. So if we understand, if we see the picture of lung actually and large intestine meridians, each vital organ has their own independent meridian. So lung meridian and the large intestine meridian, in the sense lung energy channel and the large intestine energy channel. So they are coupled together, in the sense they influence each other positively and negatively. Like example, if the lung is working properly with the 100% efficiency, it will positively influence the large intestine's functions also. And if the large intestine is not working properly, it is not able to function properly, then its negative energy will also impact the lung functions. So that is how they are connected, and that is the first theory that we learn in acupressure is about the couple organ theory, and that is how all other major organs also are coupled together, like heart and small intestine, like spleen and stomach, like kidney and urinary bladder, like liver and gallbladder. So that is how it goes with the couple organ theory, and these organs, these meridians, these energy channels, they influence each other in health and disease. So that is what the first theory, and we are discussing about the philosophy, and there is some of the typical theories of this acupressure science. And another important theory is we talk about this theory of Chi. Now if I say Chi, it's usually pronounced as Chi, but then written as QI or CHI. So this Chi is actually an energy, In the nature cure system, we call the same energy as vitality or the vital force or the life force, which is in the Chinese medicine. In the traditional system, they call it as Qi. In this theory of Qi, we discuss that this is a universal energy. Our body has this universal energy within them, and this energy is being actually circulated all over through your body and all the channels in the energy meridians. So it is very important to understand this concept of Qi, because that is what we do with the science of acupressure when we practice this medicine of acupressure. So when we press some particular points on our body, so what we ultimately try to do is the balancing of the energy, which is very important for all the bodily functions within our bodies. So that is how the philosophy, the theory of Qi works, and which typically has two components that we say. Two components of Qi are, in a Chinese language, they are called as Yin and Yang, and these cannot be translated as such in English, but then we can understand the characteristics, or we can say the attributes of Yin and Yang. They are considered to be as two opposite forces in the nature. Which two opposite forces? Like we can consider it, one could be the earth and the another could be the sky. The one is heat and another one is cold. The one is fire and the other one is water. So like that it goes. And as in the yogic philosophy, in the yogic context, we say the philosophy of Dvaita. Dvaita in the sense Dvandva. There are always like two things which exist in the nature, and there are in the body also they consider as there are two things which exist in the our body also. Like another example we can take for this is the magnet. If we consider the whole magnet, the magnet has two poles in it, which is one is south pole, the another is the north pole. So how many times if you try to cut the magnet is always divided. Every single magnet piece will again have the south pole and the north pole. It's the same with the Qi also. Like Qi is an universal energy which exists in the universe and also within our body. So how many times we devise Qi, it's always going to have two its important components, which is Yin and Yang. So these are basically two opposite attributes, two opposite characteristics within the body and also in the universe. That is how they compare with these two characteristics and attributes. So that is important for us to understand the science of acupressure. Also if we move next, they also have one, we say it's an organ clock theory. If we try to understand the organ clock theory, it can be much compared to the biological clock or the biological rhythm that we all have within our bodies. In also the nature cure system, we give much importance to this biological clock or this biological rhythm within our bodies. In this organ clock theory, they say there are 24 hours in a day and we have 12 major organs within our body. So every organ gets actually 2 hours of energy, 2 hours of intense energy will be circulated in each of the organ. Like example, which I already said you, the lung and the large intestine, that's the first couple organs if we take, then the lung gets the 2 hours of intense energy within this 24 hours of time, and the large intestine gets 2 hours of its own intense energy in 24-hour cycle. So same like that it happens with every organ, with the liver, with the gallbladder, with the heart, with the small intestine, and that is how the energy keeps circulating within your body and through all these vital organs, through all these meridians, these channels which we have, 12 major organs and 12 major meridians, energy channels, and 24 hours in a day. So every organ gets 2 hours of intense energy. So what is the importance actually this organ clock theory? And everybody knows nowadays, these days, with the biological clock or the biological rhythm that we all have within our bodies. So in the Chinese philosophy, in fact, they say if we do the treatment according to this biological clock, the treatment is going to be more effective and it's going to have a long lasting effect. But then practically it is quite not possible to practice when it's especially at the night time, when the organs are into the resting time and the energy is circulating between them. So we really cannot do the treatments at the night time. But then we can use this clock, this organ clock, successfully for the lifestyle modifications, and that is how we teach in the science of acupressure. So what we do, like example, if I give the stomach, now if I take the example of stomach gets the energy time, it's intense energy time, that is in the morning 7 to 9, morning 7 to morning 9 a.m. So what we advise in the lifestyle modification, if we actually consider the stomach, then we advise the function of the stomach is actually to receive the food. So what we advise to the patient, to the person is to take your breakfast in this particular time, in 7 to 9. So what happens is your stomach is really ready, which is full of energy to receive the food which is supposed to do. It is natural function of the stomach to receive the food. So better schedule your breakfast between 7 to 9. So like that. So this is one of the example which I gave you. Another example I would like to give, the organ of liver. So liver organ is actually the timing of liver energy. It gets its energy at the night time, in the midnight, that is from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. So almost it's the middle of the night. So liver works with the intense energy, and the basic functions of liver is detoxifying, purifying your blood and eliminating the toxins from the entire body and channelizing through the eliminative channels. So these important functions which liver does. So what we have to advise the patient is, so they need to sleep a bit early. Like we say, by 11 p.m. you should go to sleep, you should go to bed, and you should be in a deep sleep when liver gets its energy, which is 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. When you are fast asleep, when you are deep asleep, the liver can work actually. It can utilize its own energy for the detoxing, for the eliminating toxins in a full capacity. If we are awake, like in the example of the night shift workers, if you are awake and you are not sleeping at that time, then liver energy gets disturbed, and the person or the patient can have different problems with the metabolism, with the digestion, and with the other mental disturbances also. So that is how it goes. So we can use this organ clock actually theory can be used successfully for the lifestyle modifications, and which is very precise actually, and is very successfully we can treat the patients by doing the lifestyle modifications based on this organ clock, or this based on this biological rhythm. So that is how it goes with the organ clock theory. The other things that we have in the Chinese philosophy, in the science of acupressure that we study about the emotions. Now if we talk about the emotions, it's only in this Chinese philosophy they consider emotions are nothing but the energy in motion. So when we say that emotions are energy in motion, that means emotions are volatile energy, or we can say the dynamic energy which circulates throughout your body. So emotions are nothing as a solid things, but they are the form of volatile energy. Like example, if I give you the emotion of anger, like something triggers your anger and you get angry maybe for a few minutes or for a few seconds, but then it goes off, and then you actually calm down, and maybe you can just do the deep breathing, or you can drink a glass of water, and when you actually calm down, this energy has already disappeared, the energy of anger. So anger is an emotion, and emotion is nothing but an energy. So all the emotions are actually the energy in motion. That is how it is defined in this Chinese philosophy. In their science, all the emotions, or we can say the fundamental emotions, are actually related to some of the major or some of the vital organs that we can say. Like again, if I give example of the anger, so this emotion is related to the liver organ. If I give example of the joy, then this emotion is related to the heart. If I give the example of the fear emotion is related to the organ kidney. And likewise it goes like for the sadness, for the grief, this emotion goes with the lung. The emotion of worry, it goes with the stomach. You must have heard, even in the normal, in the conventional sense in the medicine, we say the hurry, worry and curry is not good for the stomach. So this is the worry. The emotion of worry actually will impact your stomach energy negatively, and you may have the stomach issues, the digestion issues, the metabolism, all of this problem. So that is how these emotions, in fact, which is actually an energies, emotional energy, that will impact your health directly. In Chinese philosophy, they give a great importance for elaborating this science of emotions, in fact, because they call this emotion as internal pathogens. Internal pathogens, in the sense, pathogen is defined actually as some kind of agent, some kind of a factor which can cause the disease. So that is how the pathogen is defined. So in the Chinese philosophy, emotions are defined as internal pathogens, in the sense they don't come from outside you, they are all within you, you get into the some kind of mode where you are going through or you experience all these emotions, maybe the emotion of joy, the emotion of anger, the emotion of worry, the emotion of fear, the emotion of sadness, and all of these. So these you actually experience its volatile energy for some time, for few seconds, for few minutes, and then it goes off. It simply evaporates from your body. So that is how, but then it is a volatile energy which could actually impact you positively and also negatively. So your health is basically what we teach in the philosophy of acupressure, also in the science. The health is not only the physical, but then it is also a lot about the mental aspect of yourself, the psychological aspect, and the emotional aspect of any individual that we have to take into consideration for treating the patient holistically. Acupressure much goes with the philosophy of the nature cure. What the nature cure says, your body is not only physical. We need to consider all the aspects of a personality of an individual. So that could be physical, which is actually the gross, what we can say, the gross layer of us that we can see physically with the open eyes, that we can see our body, which is physical. Then we have our mind. Mind is absolutely is not some separate entity, or it's not an organ as such, but then mind, we do have mind. So, and then it has its own emotions now, as we discussed. So there are psychological aspect, there are mental aspect, there are social aspect, and there are intellectual aspects to the personality. So even nature cure philosophy takes into consideration all of these aspects of a personality. Same with it goes with the acupressure. They consider a person to be on the physical level, they treat the patient, and also on the emotional level, which they actually define emotions as the internal pathogens or the energy in motion, of which we need to take care of. If you want to keep our health in a good term, then we need to, in a long term, that we have to think about the physical and this emotional aspect of any person or any patient. So this is how it goes with the acupressure philosophy, and these are the different that we can say the theories that they offer to understand the subject in depth. Also there are other interconnections to the organs that we can say, that is how the acupressure explains it elaborately. And if we take the example of lung again, they say every major organ in the sense like lung, which is a solid organ, they have their particular sense organ, which is a minor organ. Like example, if I take for the lung has a sense organ as nose. If I take example of liver, then liver has a sense organ as eyes. And if I take the example of kidney, then kidney has its sense organ as ears. So whatever the 5 sense organs we have, they are actually connected to all these major organs. So these interconnections are very important for any student of acupressure to understand the subject in depth. And also when it comes to treating the patient therapeutically, we need to be actually have a solid base of this philosophy and also understand the science of acupressure. So this is how it goes, and these interconnections we are supposed to understand and then decide on the treatment protocol. Now if it comes to the treatment protocol, we think of the different points in acupressure. So there are, if we see the classification of points, so there are some points in our body which could actually tonify our body, the tonification points, that is how it is said. There are some points which are painkillers, they act as painkillers on our body. There are points which actually will strengthen your body from within. There are points like we say sedative or the tranquilizing points. Some of the points can be used simply for the wellness, for boosting your energy, your stamina, your appetite. So these are actually used in the cosmetic acupressure or the acupuncture. So the acupressure has multiple benefits, and it could be used for the multiple reasons. And also if you don't have any kind of disease, if a person is free of disease, then also for the maintenance, like nowadays in the wellness spas, in the resorts, acupressure you use mostly for the relaxation. And the reflexology, like we say the acupressure foot, or we can say the foot reflexology, these things are used for maintenance of the health with no disease, and also for the prevention of the disease. So this is how with the science of acupressure, and the points, the correct location of points has to be studied well by the student, and then we can form the treatment protocol and then practice the science of acupressure successfully. So here we finish the discussion of acupressure today. Thank you.
Thank you for giving information about acupressure. Today, we have a very special guest with us, and it's my honor to introduce him, Mauricio Krochik. He is the founder, the Reflexology World Network, Director, the Krochik Institute for Specialized Reflexology, Kfar Sabah, Israel. Sir, please guide us.
Hello, my dear colleagues. I was invited to speak about the top treatment, the top methodology. TOP stands for TOP, the treatment of pain. My concept of treatment of pain would be different, semantic, with a semantic approach to the pain management. Treatment of pain aims to the elimination of pain, acute or chronic, incurable diseases, and even in fibromyalgia and autoimmune diseases. While pain management leaves me with a doubt, are we able to eliminate the pain or only to manage pain? So the methodology that I created aims to eliminate pain from our lives. In the next presentation, in the following presentation, I will speak to you about some of the principles of this approach. So, as you can see, TOP, reflexology for the treatment of pain with the person in the center. This is what the most important for me. The treatment of pain doesn't only include the nervous system or the endocrine system, it includes the whole human being. So in this presentation, I will show you reflexology, the treatment of pain, for the treatment of pain, the concept, the Krochik method, the definition of pain on pleasure versus pleasure, breaking all paradigms, innovation in the methodology of the triangle of healing, and the technique used, and what is the purpose for every one of them. So, we first must understand the human being as a whole, and understanding the process of generation of pain, and thinking that maybe that pain that was originally settled in the person is now pain today at all. That means we can have an injury, or for whatever reason we might have we might suffer from a pathology that has weakened our tissues and has weakened us as persons and has left us vulnerable. So our body will always be vulnerable to pain. And the pain for me is an ugly thing. And pain leaves us vulnerable. So how can we revert this process? In my opinion, pills can only help alleviate some symptoms. However, if we want a real healing, if we want to promote a real healing process of pain or from the pathology that originated the pain, we have to focus on the human being and understanding the process of generation of pain. Therefore, my vision in the integration of the different techniques and modalities that include the treatment of pain methodology, I include the structures. I work on the spine and all the diaphragms, and then the spinal nerves, just to rebalance the body, because the effect of pain can be settled in every one of the tissues in my body. So the fascia doesn't really like to be contracted. So I would try to release all the pressure from the fascia to let the all the fluids in the body circulate and to allow a good activity of the nervous system. Therefore, then I will continue with the plexuses in the nervous end of the nervous system to empower the message from the nervous system to calm the pain and to empower the body to restore all the functions that have been affected or lost by the continuous use and abuse of pain that pain has on our body. Even the most chronic pain can be healed and alleviated while we work in an integrative way that starts with the structures, continues with the plexuses, the nervous plexuses, like the cervical plexus, the brachial plexus, the cardiac plexus, the solar plexus, the abdominal lumbar plexus, and the sacral plexus. And all the plexuses in the body, working on all the plexuses in the body, we can reach every single nerve in the body, every single function of the body. But nothing will be complete if we didn't add any work on the endocrine system, because the endocrine system is the one that allows us to make the changes and to perform all the changes in the body. If I want something to happen in my body, I need the action of the endocrine system, because the endocrine system is the one that can allow all the modifications. It is the executive arm of the nervous system, or we can look at it as such. So we will work integrating the fascia and the body-mind understanding, because I must know what is the body-mind energy that is leading the body to produce pain. So sometimes changing an attitude or changing an understanding that we have of our own body and the understanding of what is exactly the illness and how was it provoked can become one of the best and one of the most powerful weapons we have to, together with all the techniques of the reflexology techniques and stimulations. This is one of the most powerful energies that we can drive from our minds to change our attitudes and then to change our body perception of the pain. So how can we relieve the pain that cry of the body? So knowing the cause of the pain should be our first task as a therapist. As therapists, what follows is not always in our hands. If you are in this webinar or in this lecture, it is because you want to have the key to this question. Once we have helped to calm and perhaps even heal, to restore happiness and a smile to our patient, and help him to maintain a state of prevention, preventing the pain from reappearing, only there we will have our mission fulfilled. So the treatment of pain should include the 4 P's that are, for me, the keys of the therapeutic approach: precision, perseverance, patience, and pleasure. Precision, because if there is pain in the body, we should be able to find exactly the same pain in the foot. So with a precise exploration and the precise finding of the right reflex in the right place, we would be hitting the target in a much efficient way. Perseverance. Sometimes we have to go once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 1,000 times, through the same reflex until the pain or the congestion or the swelling located in that reflex allows us to or releases that congestion and allows the tissue to regenerate. Patience. It is because we will never be able to get rid of pain without patience. Sometimes it is a matter of time, but we have to let that time happen. And so perseverance and patience are two of our best attitudes while working in the treatment of pain. Sometimes in a reflexology treatment, we can say we can have a protocol and to say, okay, so I have to work on the spine. So then I work on the spine once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then I jump to another thing. Is it enough? Or maybe using perseverance and patience, I would be able to achieve better results and a better dissolution of that congestion that it is happening in that tissue underneath my thumbs. And therefore, and the other thing is perseverance and patience. It is because pain has its own tricks. Pain can go and come back, and go and come back, and we will be running after the pain. And sometimes we have to be very patient because pain has its own laws. And the other one is pleasure. And for me, it is the best antidote to pain. Are there points in the body that I can stimulate? Or is there a technique in the body with which I can stimulate pleasure instead of pain? Yes. Will this pleasure heal the pain that I feel? Yes, because the purpose is to empower the body to produce all the elements to heal the pain. And therefore, we need precision, perseverance, patience, and pleasure. So here, this is our decision, to work with pain or to work with pleasure. Many reflexologists throughout the world use a lot of pressure and a lot of pain, thinking that no, there is no gain without pain. I don't. I think exactly the contrary. I think that if we apply much more pleasure than pain, then we will have much better results. So the human body is a machine perfectly designed to create and experience pleasure. And therefore, we have to change some old paradigms. And the first one is to work hard on the painful areas. Oh, I really don't like to go to a reflexology session in which I feel pain exerted by the therapist's hand that is making pressure on my toes. So how hard do I have to work? Okay, so I change a paradigm to create the treatment of pain, and it is to work smoothly on the painful areas. And you don't need that hammer anymore. The second paradigm I need to work on is warm is always better. Sometimes, well, this is true, but not always. Sometimes ice is also an option. Have you ever tried the benefits of ice? One of the things that compose my methodology for the treatment of pain is the use of ice together with reflexology. How? Okay, I will explain you in a different opportunity. No pain, no gain. Have you tried pleasure, sir? So not anymore. So instead of no pain, no gain, use depth, motion, focus, and joy. These are 4 things that I integrate in whatever reflexology I give for the treatment of pain, so to go deep into the tissues. Motion that helps me change the perception of pain. Focus on the precise reflex and joy. Just experience the joy of giving reflexology. It is an energy that I can transmit and spread through my hands to my body, to my client's body. And of course, to break the adaptation, I have adapted myself to pain. If someone asks me, hey, how are you? I say, oh, yeah, I'm okay. You don't have the face of being okay. No, I am okay. I am okay. I don't have the time to, just to keep this conversation. And then I surrender to say, I am all right. And then the person insists and says, I know you. I know that something is. Okay, and this is exactly the sabotage that I do to myself when I adapt myself to pain. I had an injury when I was 6, 7, 8, 19 years old, and then I didn't treat it. I adapted myself to that pain, but that pain that I forgot is still there. I will feel it in the feet. Every time I touch, I will feel congestions and swelling and pain. And then I, as a reflexologist, must know what is exactly the origin of that pain, so to treat it better and to offer a better solution. So let's see what is the influence of motion to improve the perception of pain. Just a second, I would like to make sure that there is sound here. And therefore, yes. Here, methodology is that it has to be painless. We can avoid pain. The client who comes with pain doesn't want to feel more pain when we treat them. Even if we have to work on very painful spots, we can avoid that. How? Look, I will show you 2 examples on how can it be a painful response or a painless response. I have a client here who will tell us from a scale from 0 to a 10, how much pain does she feel? Okay, so in the first action, I will work in a static way. In the second action, I will work moving my body. Please pay attention. First, static. How much pain, please?
7.
Okay. Now let's go to the second one. I lean my body to the side, and while I open the stroke, I move with my body from right to left. How much pain, please?
0.
You see? That means the fact of moving my body leaves all the tension wherever. That means it is diffuse tension. But if I am static, I will concentrate all the tension in my hands. And this is what I deliver to my client. Then I have to work in a dynamic way, monotone way. And if you approach my hands, take a look, how do they move? Always from the same spot to the same spot. The 2 thumbs are symmetric. That means the two thumbs work in a symmetric way, leading that reflex and that reflex spot at the same time, with the same timing. And the other thing is, the heel is always inside my hand. And I move from right to left. I go by air, and the stroke is on the ground. I leave it, and I place my hands again. I leave it, and I place my hands again. If you take the time of every one of the strokes, it can take maybe 4 or 5 seconds. That means that in 1 minute we can do this same stroke, something like 15 times. We continue to do that. So in 1 minute you will be able to work on the spine, for example, 14 times, 12 times. Breathe, smile,
move always. By the end of the treatment, if you move your body, what are you doing? You are not making any pressure with your hand. You are only delivering your energy, and your hands work for you. And the body works for you, sorry. Okay? So this is one of the painless techniques I can show you. One of the most important things in my methodology is...
Now let's see how can we work with the pituitary gland to neutralize pain.
We have to neutralize pain because our client suffers. That means we will obviously have to work on painful spots all the time. How can we neutralize pain? Let's see one example. 95% of people suffer from some pain in the spine. Okay, maybe because whatever the reason is, it can be posture, it can be pathology, or whatever. Look what happens if how much pain can I obtain if I touch deeply, if I go deeply to the L4 reflex. How much pain is it now?
Very painful.
From a 0 to a 10?
8.
8. Let's see what happens if I go to the pituitary gland reflex. How much is the pain right now?
6, 5.
Okay. And if I take the thumb?
8 again.
And if I make it again?
4, 5.
4, 5. And if I do it again?
7, 6.
And let's press a bit deeper.
4.
4. That means the pain will reduce until we can come to a 0. Well, maybe we would not be able to reduce the pain to a 0 in a treatment, but with perseverance, with patience, and with the continuous use of the pituitary gland over painful reflexes, we can neutralize the pain. We have to work on those reflexes at some stage. So it is necessary to neutralize the pain to avoid the painful experience. And that's it.
Okay, so in my methodology, you can reach that there are two methodologies, the top one methodology and the top two methodology. I am often asked, what is exactly the difference between one and the other? One is, top one methodology is the methodology that allows me to work on curable diseases, curable symptoms. A person who comes with migraine is chronic, but is it curable? Yes. Tendinitis? Yes. Bursitis, yes. Sciatica, is it curable? Yes, it can be chronic, but it is curable. So with the top one methodology, and I treat the curable conditions, and the first 4 techniques that compose my methodology, just to work to add on, are the 3 wireless, the control panel, and the circle of pleasure. The 3 for the structures, the spine, the diaphragms, and the spinal nerves. The wireless to work on the nervous system, plexus by plexus. The control panel, which is for the endocrine system balance and feedback to promote changes. And the circle of pleasure, which is a technique that consists on empowering the 5 reflexes responsible for the creation of pleasure in the body. So these are the 4 basics. But on top of them, I will look at and study and understand my clients' demands and complaints. And of course, I will add that special thing, that special technique to treat his special needs and his special pain. Like, for example, holiday ice and the global warming, for the treatment of plantar fasciitis, for the treatments of sciatica, for the treatment of the premenstrual syndrome, for the treatment of migraine, for the treatment of the carpal tunnel syndrome. for the treatment of epicondylitis, for the treatment of tendinitis, bursitis, and for the prevention of injuries provoked by sport. In the other methodology, in top 2 methodology, I teach or I use the 20% of my patients that come with fibromyalgia or autoimmune diseases. Needless to say that fibromyalgia and autoimmune diseases are diseases with an unknown, scientifically unknown origin, but they are forever. That means I have never seen a person healing from fibromyalgia or an autoimmune disease. However, with the treatment of pain, with the method, with the top 2 methodology, we can help the person get rid of the pain. I just repeat this, get rid of the pain and recover an excellent quality of life. So this methodology includes, for the treatment of patients with fibromyalgia, 8 techniques of reflexology in motion. For the 2 of them, fibromyalgia and autoimmune diseases, I work with three sequences in a row to empower the parasympathetic system. The top 10 technique, the happy wanderer, that rising the vagus nerve tone and stimulating the parasympathetic system, and the circle of pleasure again. And then specific techniques for patients with Crohn's disease that include localization, the treatment of the local swelling, the tenesmus and perianal disease, techniques for ulcerative colitis patients like localization and reducing the swelling in the large intestine, techniques for the rheumatoid arthritis patient like the STAR, the Beethoven technique, and holiday on ice again, that are wonderful techniques for the joints, the 3 together. The techniques and the joints is not the only thing that rheumatoid arthritis patients will suffer from. Techniques for multiple sclerosis, like symptoms like paresthesia, spasticity, migraines, and the lobes technique, which is a fantastic technique that I have created to improve brain and nerve function. Remember that multiple sclerosis is many illnesses as one. That means it is exactly the same symptom in the brain, but with the expression of different conditions depending on what is exactly the brain function that has been affected. And the techniques for systemic lupus erythematosus, all the above, there are techniques that you can use. At the end, the bottom line of the top methodology is to improve the quality of life of the person. In top 1 methodology, you can get rid not only from the pain, but also from the illness itself. In top 2 methodology, you can provide your patient with an excellent quality of life that he's not having at the moment. And then the top methodology includes, it's a method of innovation that includes creativity, how to work, what is your posture as a therapist, reflexology in motion, how are the benefits of working in motion instead of working static, reflexology and weight lift, what about to put the body in action, to do the effort, and what happens with a reflex that it is being stimulated. Reflexology in water, how does it respond, the body, while we give reflexology in water? And then, okay, this is a calendar of the upcoming top courses. In the next courses of top 1, next course of top 1 is starting on October 8th, and then on January 12th, next September 28th, that means this next week, I am starting with the top 2 methodology, and in January 11, we will repeat. And these are hours that cover the whole world, from Canada to New Zealand, through the UK and Europe and India and Japan, etc. So if you want to have more information about the top methodology, or to just to be in touch with me for whatever reason, okay, so this is my email. You can contact me on by email, or you can contact me. You can contact me by WhatsApp for messages only. I was very glad to be with you in this presentation, and I wish that we have an opportunity to see us again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. You give very important information about reflexology for the treatment of pain, the top method.
Hello friends, so we are celebrating the World Reflexology Week organized by my dear friend Anil Jainji, and I'm honored that he has asked me to speak on a certain topic, and I have chosen the topic neck pain and chiropractic. So let us go ahead and see what is there. So neck pain is a very common thing, and it is so common that you find phrases like "you are a pain in the neck." People say that to people who cause them trouble. So it's such a common mode of trouble. So what are the causes of neck pain? So you have cervical spondylosis, cervical disc prolapse, misalignment of vertebrae, high blood pressure, muscle strain, cancer, and metastasis in neck. So these are the various causes of neck pain. Let us look into each of them in detail. So what is this cervical spondylosis? So spondylosis is very similar to arthritis in the sense that both involve outgrowth of bones from the edges of the bone. And this is caused, main reason is due to uneven pressure on the weakened bone structure. So in the case of the vertebra, the outgrowths press on the exiting spinal nerves, and they give rise to pain in the neck, shoulders, and upper back and arms. So here you can see those bones, they are overgrown, and the nerves are coming from these points. So they are compressed, and this is what we call cervical spondylosis. Next we have cervical disc prolapse. In this you have the disc, which is like a pillow or a cushion between the bones of the vertebra. So when this gets swollen or gets damaged or becomes deformed, it can bulge out of the entire vertebral column, and it can press on the spine, and it can also press on the vertebra which are on the spinal nerves which are coming out between the vertebrae. So here you can see these are the disc which has come out, and it is compressing on the spine. Since this is the cut section, you cannot see the spinal nerves, but they are coming from this area, and naturally they are getting compressed by these bulges. So what is the cause of this disc prolapse? Disc prolapse can happen due to a jerk or a heavy pressure when the neck is in a wrong position, not in a very straight position, but in a slightly turned or bent position. So in that condition, if there is sudden pressure or prolonged pressure, it can lead to this disc getting pushed out, so leading to cervical disc prolapse. What is another cause? That is very important cause, but very easily missed, because most X-rays do not mention it very clearly. They just most of the time I see them writing normal alignment, whereas it is very clearly seen that the vertebrae are not actually properly aligned. So in the first case, you have the vertebra may be twisted from, it may be rotated from left to right or right to left, and this can lead to a torsion of the spine. So that might be one kind of misalignment. Another kind of misalignment, the vertebra itself is pushed on one side. In this particular case, you find that it has gone to the left side, and this this kind of a vertebral misalignment leads to scoliosis. Another kind is when the vertebra is pushed backward. You can see here some of the vertebrae have gone backward, and this condition causes what is called kyphosis, or bend forward. Another condition is called lordosis, in which if the vertebra is pushed, some of the vertebrae are pushed forward, there is an exaggerated curvature of the cervical spine, and which is called lordosis. Another important cause of high blood pressure is important cause of neck pain is high blood pressure. So this is because there is a particular artery called the vertebral artery which passes through the vertebra. It passes through the bones of the vertebra, and if there is high blood pressure, and then this artery becomes very taut, and this causes stiffness in the neck, as well as this artery causes compression of the nerves around, leading to strain, a feeling of strain and stiffness in the neck. Then you have muscle strain, which is because of bad posture. When a person is working long hours on the computer in a position where his neck is either bent backwards or forwards instead of being straight, then the person develops muscle strain, because certain muscles have to be overused to keep the head in that particular position. Then you have cancer or metastasis of the vertebral spine. The cancer may be primary, which may start in the vertebral bone itself, things like myeloma or osteoma, or it may be due to metastasis from the lung, the kidney, the breast, etc. So chiropractic treatment is one kind of treatment which is very useful in neck pain. And what is chiropractic? Chiropractic treatment means adjusting the misaligned bones or vertebrae manually. So you use your hands and you gently touch the bones, and you bend the neck in such a way such that you can push the bones back in place, the vertebra back in place. So it's a very scientific treatment which was discovered in the United States, and it is quite similar to what goes on as osteopathic treatment. So what is the scope of chiropractic? Almost all the causes of neck pain mentioned, except for cancer and metastasis, can be cured by chiropractic. Cancer and metastasis are absolute contraindications. Disc prolapse again is of two types. When the disc itself is at fault, it is called primary, and such a condition should be first treated, and then you can, if required, if simultaneous to this, if the bones are out of place, then you have to treat the neck through chiropractic. But sometimes the disc prolapse is secondary to the misalignment. In this case, just because the vertebra is out of place, the disc which is attached to it also goes out of place. In such a condition, chiropractic helps to correct the disc prolapse. Now we come to another aspect of treatment of neck, prevention and treatment of neck problems. This is by using a proper pillow. So if you use a correct pillow, then it's a kind of insurance against getting neck pain, because many people sleep for at least 6 to 8 hours, if not more, and in that, what is the only thing that is supporting their neck is a pillow. And if this pillow is not of the proper size and shape, then the neck is in a very wrong position and it can lead to problems. So a pillow, a proper pillow, what exactly is a proper pillow? A proper pillow is one which is deep in the center and which is high on the sides. So this is high on the sides, and this part, it is deep. So when a person lies down, his head goes inside the pillow, and when he turns, then his neck, his head is on top of this part, which is on a height, which has a certain height, which is equal to the distance between his ears and his shoulder. So this helps to support his entire spine in a straight line when he's sleeping. So this is a very important thing, and it's a very good insurance against getting neck pain. And most people get up with neck pain, say that they get up with neck pain, and this itself is suggestive that they are using a wrong pillow. So thank you very much, and please continue watching. We are going to show you a little more about the pillow also and how this is going to be used. Let's demonstrate what is the ideal pillow for using so that you don't get a neck ache. And if your pillow is wrong, in fact, not just the neck, but your whole back can go out of alignment. So we have seen before how the neck has got a certain curve, and that curve should also get adjusted, as well as we have got this distance between the ear and the shoulder. So this whole distance has to be supported by the pillow. That is why I have invented this pillow. So you can see it is like a normal pillow, but the center part has been excavated, and this is where you lie down. Your head touches when you are lying down. Okay, and when you turn on the side, your ear will come on this side if you are on the right side, and it will come on the left side if you are on this side. So this is how this pillow helps to support the whole your neck and keeps your whole spine in one line, because this part, if this is not supported, your neck goes down, and when this goes down, this part of the neck, all the nerves get compressed, and when you wake up with numbness in the hand and pain in your hand also. So this will help to prevent that. Your whole spine will remain in a straight line if your head is supported properly, because here is your mattress, and this pillow, it is, when you're lying down, it is behind you. Okay, and when you turn, you are on this side. So the mattress is down and you're supported. Your head is completely supported by this. This is how this works and helps to prevent any form of neck pain. It will prevent cervical spondylosis. It will prevent misalignment of cervical vertebra. And if a person's muscles are also weak, it will prevent the person from developing a misalignment. So this is a very important thing, and everyone should try to use this kind of a tool. Thank you. Relax. अभी आप done हम पकड़ देंगे. We'll hold you. Don't. Correct. You got it.
Very good.
This is how you're supposed to be. अभी इसमें देखो आपका spine पूरा. Okay.
Thank you, sir. You give very valuable information about neck healing. Thanks to our advisor committee who make the World Reflexology Week successful. Dr. Cyril Anthony, Mr. Ave Falvik, Dr. P.B. Lohia ji and Dr. Sarvadev Prasad ji Gupta. I would like to thank our Venerable Mr. Rajendra Babuji Darda, who helped us to make this event successful, and his guidance has always been with us. With all, I would like to thank Lokpat Media Partner for their wonderful contribution of making it reach to folk, and they laid the foundation to make it successful. Now, I would like to thank our members of speakers and advisory committee. Now, I would like to thank who make people connected by their anchoring till the end of the event, Shilpa Jain. So, now I request you to stand up for National Anthem.
गणमनाधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाए तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय